Super. Okay, welcome everybody. Another episode of Questions with Chiropractors. Today I have with me my very good friend Josh Petersmith. He is in St. Louis, Missouri. Yes. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
I had the Missouri boys, so I had to make sure I said the right word. Josh, tell us. First question is just tell us why you're a chiropractor.
Well, that answer today is different than when I started, applying to school. So originally, I went to chiropractic school to, do things in the sports realm. I was a college athlete. I played soccer. A girl who I dated in chiropractic school, her dad was a chiropractor. Saw a lot of the local athletes there in Illinois, and I thought that was probably the thing that I wanted to do. I honestly didn't know much about it, even though I grew up like 8 miles from Palmer's front doorstep. I grew up right across the river from there in Illinois. So I kind of got into it thinking I was going to be fixing, low backs and helping people get back on the field quicker and looking at shoulders and ankles and whatever else. And then, but now, like why I'm a chiropractor today is to definitely, be a beacon of hope and be a beacon of light in my community through spreading, through leading by example and spreading chiropractic truth. So that's really my mission now.
Fantastic. I absolutely love that you said it's different now than why you started, because that's so true for me too. I love the evolution of the heart and mind of a chiropractor, especially on the principled path.
Totally.
Tell me why, and I know chiropractic's important all the time, but why is it so important right now?
Well, I mean, I don't know about you, but like here in St. Louis, in the St. Louis area, we've got probably 2 million people or so. And where you're at, every time I walk outside, every time I go to the grocery store or get gas, there's just a different aura in the air. Like there's truly like a sense of just eeriness, and like you can almost smell the fear. And I hate to say it that way, but people are like literally like walking around in fear right now. And I've always been someone that's prided myself on having way more faith than fear. And I think chiropractic is a part of that right now, as far as being that, like I said, like being that beacon of hope and that being that beacon of faith and the ability of our bodies to do what it's supposed to do. And hopefully that rubs off on our patients and our clients and the people of our community, to where they don't have to sit in their house or sit at a job and like be afraid of this invisible boogeyman. And I say that I'm not trying to like downplay anyone that's been sick from it or anything, but people are afraid of things that they may never ever get. And it's one of those things that we have to truly sit back in our offices and be that like little glimmer of hope, so that they can go home and live their life how they're supposed to, and also to like keep their families in check. As far as, I mean, my in-laws were just here for 3 weeks. They just left today. And just being around other people that are thinking the same as you, that have a certain outlook on life and health, helps tremendously, as far as not getting beaten down. Because if you turn the radio on, you turn the TV on, you read anything on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, it's like the world is ending. And I would much rather live in a place of faith, in a place of hope, in a place of healing, than a place of, oh my gosh, don't look at me, don't talk to me, don't come near me. Like literally, that's, to me, that's just who I am. So if a little bit of that can come off to my patients and my community, then I think that's where chiropractic should really focus right now.
Yes, absolutely. And that's really one of the main purposes of me doing this right now. I love arming my practice members with other ways to communicate chiropractic, so that, because they're actually coming back to me saying, I'm trying to get these people in. I had one mom organize an entire neighborhood to get adjusted just because she's
Nice.
trying to tell them they're so important. And so, yeah, I think sharing I keep using this, sharing the heart of the chiropractor with the community right now, it's so super important. I think you already answered this a little bit, but the next thing I wanted to ask you is, what is your biggest concern right now
Well, you want to be politically correct or just not?
I want you to be you.
um, in all honesty, and I hope no one takes this the wrong way, but like I'm not concerned at all. Like not in the least bit. Um, does it mean that I'm aware? Of course, but I'm not concerned one bit. And the reason is because and I keep saying it, it's the faith. And I'm not necessarily talking God, but I am a little bit. But I don't want people to get misconstrued here. It's just faith that my body, that I've done things up to now of taking care of myself and spreading the truth of what health is to my family, to my loved ones, to my community here in the office, and then just the community at large. That I'm not really concerned, because if I truly had an issue with it, or if I came down with something like this, or if one of my loved ones came down with it, I know we could arm them with the education to the steps to make sure that their body fights it off the way that it's supposed to. And kind of tongue in cheek, I've been saying this, tongue in cheek sometimes, but to some degree, like we're all going to get it, and I hope we all get it at some point, so we can just be immune to it and be good to go from there. Um, and because of it too, like it's not just gonna like vanish one day. It's gonna be around months after all this hoopla dies down of stay-at-home orders and quarantine orders and whatever else. Like this thing's gonna be around a lot longer after that. And when you really break it down, like the first time they found patient zero wasn't the first day that it was ever around. It was around way before that. And the last day that they diagnosed patient whatever number that is, it's going to be around after that as well too. So to think of ourselves of just hiding from it and then coming out into life again and go, okay, everything's good, like thinking about that from an educated, from a science biology standpoint, is like it's going to be around. So let's arm ourselves with the ability to fight it off when we do come in contact with it. I mean, chances are we've all probably come in contact with it in some form or fashion, whether it's someone at the grocery store who didn't know they had it, or someone, my wife works in a hospital, like in some form or fashion, there's gonna be some sort of like, oh my gosh, 6 ways removed, I know someone who had it and I saw them within this time that they were contagious. So I'm sure most of us have probably been through that already. But yeah, for me, it's all about just truly just not being concerned. And like I said, um, with being the beacon of light. So I've actually had to remove myself from a few Facebook groups and Facebook chats because of just people who are usually pretty level-headed, just like run around with their hair on fire, I feel like. And I had to like, okay, like I can't give this thought, I can't give this any energy, because there were times too, like I probably needed to be adjusted. I hadn't worked out in a while, hadn't done my morning meditations and stuff, and then I finally got back to stuff like that, and I was like, man, this cloak of just like weight like came off of me just by getting back to my normal life. And I did a Facebook Live on it on our practice page of just like working out, like finding something sucky and doing it and pushing my body, getting adjusted that day, and then like getting quiet a little bit too and clearing my mind. And I was a totally different person after doing that. And I feel like if I can get back to that, and we can teach people to proactively live their life without fear of this invisible quote unquote boogeyman, we're just the sooner we're going to be better off as a whole.
100%. Actually, I think those things have been such a anchor, and I think we chiropractors, at least our crowd, those are our anchors in terms of meditating and taking care of our body and just keeping our head and heart right, so that we
Totally.
can you know project that out into our community. Now, having said that, one of the words that keeps coming up is that we're anchors, and that brings with it some weight, in terms of just at the end of the day, I usually have to come here and literally strip, change my clothes and change my head and just kind of sit for a second to let the day rest, and then enjoy the rest of my evening or try to recharge. So we need to recharge too. So my last question really is, what are you doing to recharge and stay, enjoy yourself, laugh, that kind of thing? And I think you just said a lot of it, but judging by the playground in the back, I know
Yeah.
the other stuff too.
Yeah, we just got a nice little outdoor sandbox for the kids and stuff like that. And like I mean, it's springtime, right? Like springtime for me is one of the best times of the year, for various reasons. One, the weather's getting better. I kind of like it where it's a little bit chillier in the morning. Then you go out at lunch, like, oh my gosh, it's a beautiful day. The sun's out. It does rain a little bit here in Missouri in April, but at the same time, like some of the stuff that's been canceled, right? NCAA basketball, opening day baseball, the Masters, like all these things that are going around this
Hockey.
time of year, hockey playoffs starting, like all these things that are like, man, I can't wait to watch this stuff. Like not having that kind of nostalgia to go back to, like, oh man, like even last year, right? The Blues won the Stanley Cup was a huge thing here in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Glued to the TV for almost all those playoff games.
Yep.
But for me, yeah, like I said, it's like truly getting back to normal. And I know normal's not the same. I'm not in a gym working out, but I am in my garage, like sweating, doing something to quote unquote sucky that like mentally pushes me. Getting up early, eating good quality foods. Like I just started back doing pretty hardcore keto starting on Monday. And like truly, I think if there's ever a time to like hit the gas pedal, it's probably like right now. And it's not going to be the easiest thing to do, but I tell you what, like with us leading by example, and not just us as chiropractors, just people in general,
Mm-hmm.
leading by example of like, look, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, this is my mindset on all this, and truly not just like not giving it that third, fourth, fifth, second, seventh, 10th, 20th thought of the day. Like, cool, acknowledge it. It's an issue right now. On to the next thing. And I feel like it dominates everyone's thoughts all day, every day. And to do a little chiropractic spin on this, like we we see a ton of people every single week. We see so many new patients. We see all this stuff, and people always ask, like, how can I make it so I never ever need to be adjusted again, right? And I tell them it's easy. Like, you just have to become a nun. You literally pray all day. You have no bills. You don't have a lot of stress. You literally just like pray. You take away all the stresses of daily living, or you become a monk. You live on top of a monastery. You brew your own beer. You pray all day. You meditate. Like, it's pretty simple, right? That's not today's life, right? We just can't do that. So the daily stresses of life is what's going to pretty much make sure that our bodies always need to be tuned up or back in check. And it's our way to lead from the front now and really keep that stuff going and lead by example to where this ugly head again, not just whatever's going on now, COVID-19, but the next thing, we can say, look, this is what we did. Our businesses flourished, or we sprung right back. And then literally, so, okay, cool. We've been through this before, and then let's tackle it head on and on to the next thing.
Yes. I'm so excited to see the other end of this. First of all, the celebration that's going to
Oh
happen
yeah.
in various groups. But I am so excited to see how resilient small businesses were, local businesses were, our neighbors in business, and each and every one of us as chiropractors too. One of the things that I've grown to realize through doing this is that this vehicle is also kind of helping some other chiropractors who maybe have some questions and don't have the certainty. And so we're really touching a huge community here. And Josh, I want to thank you so much for doing this with me. Thanks for your time. I know you got to get ready for the office, but I'm always empowered listening to you speak and just having a conversation with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm honored you asked me, and like I said before we even started this call, like you never even have to ask, just assume I'm in. So if it wasn't going to be this week, we'd find the time over the weekend or next week to get this thing nailed down and keep spreading the message and keep spreading the love to people.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right, girl. Love and appreciate you.
Love you too.
All right. See you soon.